Marianne Williamson campaign is in shambles. Dead on the right.
I knew you were going to say. You know, I couldn't wait for Nick to say they're in shambles. I knew you were going to say that. That's like your trademark thing. So I knew you were going to say that today. I had that on my bingo card. For
bingo, you got it.
Let's listen, gentlemen, to this 3-minute rant. It's a beautiful rant before we get into, this is a good introduction into this segment here.
You see this guy right here? This is Peter Daou. This is a Mark Trick fool in my best Compton voice. This is a nut one. This is a nut job. A crazy man who do not have a clue. Stupid, silly, ignorant, dumbfounded. Don't have a brain. A butt wipe.
Dude, take it easy.
Yeah, we got to have this guy on. Who is this guy?
This guy is ridiculous. Look about Peter Daou. He's a Democratic strategist who has advised major political figures, including Hillary Clinton, Arlen Specter, John Kerry.
Yeah, that's true. Kerry, Hillary, Bernie. Wow. I mean, this guy's a big
Marianne.
He was described by the New York Times as one of the most prominent political bloggers in the nation. Who? This fool? This trick? This punk? Political punk? Don't know what the crap he's talking about? This fool? But that was according to Washington Post. According to Jeff Bezos' paper. Because, you know, they told the Democratic Party line anyway. They are the Koch brothers of the Democratic Party. The Washington Post said that his early work in digital politics helped innovate a whole new way of campaigning. How?
And it goes on.
Take that guy
and
off.
We
keep him on. He's going to steal all our subscribers. That guy. I don't never see that before. We're not going to.
I've never seen him, but he's got a good rap.
It's called the Rob Report. It's called the Rob Report, and when I found the video, it only had 100 views. I think it has probably more now because I showed this before, but it had only 100 views. When I showed it, and I thought it just kind of summed up when he announced that he was going to be a part of the campaign. To me, this video, of course, you know, curated and put it online because it just felt like it fit him being, because it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense. Why would a person who claims they want to go after the Bernie Sanders coalition, why would they get one of the biggest hacks, if not the biggest hacks, against smear merchants of Bernie Sanders? It just never made sense to me. But then when we fast forward, and Nick has to be caught up to speed to what's happening here, what people may not know, Peter Daou was the campaign manager, but he was a campaign manager only for a short amount of time, about 2 months. Here is the tweet that got everybody, that was shocking. I don't know if it was shocking to you or any of you guys, but let me quickly read it now that I finally found it. Peter Daou, personal note, after much consideration, I've decided to leave Marianne Williamson's presidential campaign, where I was campaign manager. Details to follow. And I'll let whoever wants to jump in here without giving away the story chronologically. What was your reaction at this point initially? Anyone who wants to chime in.
What I have to
go ahead, Kid, go ahead.
So when I saw that tweet, there's just a couple things that came to my mind. Number one, Peter Daou probably saw the real Marianne Williamson. And what I mean by that is her inability to really handle criticism or how to successfully run a campaign. Case in point, you know, there's a lot of political ammunition that can be used to derail her and her campaign. And already right off the bat, if you look at videos such as her showdown with Marcel Dixon, or either that, her meltdown interview with you guys at Revolutionary Blackout Network, it is quite clear to anyone, even to somebody like Peter Daou, that Marianne Williamson will be nothing but a big target for corporate media and everybody to tear apart. There is no defending somebody who is incapable of handling an interview or even handling a simple question from a voter. She easily gets angry. She's easily riled up. She is somebody who cannot handle pressure. And I'm willing to bet she probably snapped at Peter or did something to which Peter walked into and was like, Jesus Christ, I got to get out of here before it gets too hot.
Well, any other initial reaction? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, building on that, we did an entire video on this, taking apart Kyle lying to his audience for a half an hour about the Politico piece about her long history of abusing staff, which he would not put on screen for very clear reasons if you actually read the article, because what he was saying did not match what was actually in the article. She has a 30-year history of people coming out and claiming that she's completely insane, that she's a sick, abusive narcissist that nobody can stand to be around. She had Mike Nichols, the director, and several other people flee her AIDS charity to go start their own just to get away from her. How sick do you have to be for people to run away from your AIDS charity and start another one just to get away from you?
You know, the Vanguard uses that AIDS charity as a plus for her every time.
Well, so does Kyle.
People don't know.
So does Kyle.
Yeah, they use that. Go ahead, to your point.
They use that, but they don't want to tell you the actual history behind it. They don't want to tell you about the woman with cancer that she fired from that AIDS charity, who thereby lost her health insurance right before she had to go in for surgery. They don't tell you about that. They don't tell you that there are articles from People magazine and the Los Angeles Times that exactly track what Marianne's staff told Politico from 2020. So if you, and you know, going into these people who have been fluffing her campaign, who try to claim that they can still do their jobs, why haven't any of you motherfuckers asked her about that? Not one of you. Kyle went and lied to his audience about it for a half an hour. And the rest of them, anytime that they've interviewed her, have not even brought it up, have not even asked her the question. That seems kind of relevant for somebody that you think should be president, doesn't it? That there's this long history of multiple people on separate sides of the country telling exactly the same stories, identical stories about their experience with Marianne Williamson. So this whole thing, I don't want to step on it. We'll go through it chronologically. But when he says details to follow here, remember, one of the things they said in the Politico article was that they had to be anonymous because they were all forced to sign very, very restrictive NDAs.
Right. So there's that. Okay. So he puts out that tweet, details to follow. He follows this up with this, talking about how we need an independent run. We need a viable third-party candidate. Jason Call, who was a director of sorts on the campaign, a higher up who co-wrote her campaign platform, he tweets out the same day that he is resigning as well. He says he's proud of the platform that he wrote, but he noticed not a kind word for Marianne in Jason Call's farewell tweet, which he deleted, which he actually deleted after the fact, which could speak to the fact that maybe by saying he wrote the platform, maybe he said too much, right? Maybe that was an NDA violation. Who knows, right? But so anyway, Daou comes out with this. So you have two higher ups on the campaign quit and sort of embrace third-party politics. Jason Call is now running for Congress in Washington State's 2nd district as a Green. So you have that. I actually, because we were going live with this yesterday, and I did want to do as much research as I possibly could, even though there was limited information out, I watched the Vanguard guys because I figured they might have something to say about this since they know Marianne. They probably know a little bit about the inner works of the campaign. They said on their show yesterday, now they tried to backpedal this today. I've been watching a lot of them the past 72 hours because this is kind of my beat. I got to stay up on the Marianne stuff, right? So they said yesterday on the air, they said we called somebody. They wouldn't say who they called. They said we called somebody close to the campaign, and they said it was office drama. That's what the Vanguard guys said on the air yesterday. So that's what we ran with last night, because we figured, all right, they're saying it's office drama. And, you know, they tried to minimize it like it was no big deal, right? But office drama, when you're talking about someone with a history like Marianne, who of documented workplace abuse, right, kind of feels like there may have been some bad blood. So that's what we put out there as a possibility. We didn't say that's exactly what happened for sure. We also floated the theory that they got fed up with her waffling on the dirty break question, because not only did they both quit the same day, but they both advocated for third parties on the same day. So we thought maybe that's one explanation also. Today he comes out with this story that his mother is sick, which, look, I have no reason to doubt his mother is sick. Just want to be totally cool about that. We obviously wish his mother all the best. But now he comes out with the story that his mother is sick. If your mother was sick, why wouldn't you have just said, you know, unfortunately,
more to come, more to come. Why
would you say details to follow in the initial tweet? Why not just say, look, it breaks my heart to have to resign from Marianne's campaign, but I have to care for my mother. I wish them all the best. Like, that seems like something you would reveal at the start. Doesn't seem like something you would tease out, that your mother is sick. So is that not a cover story? And today on the Vanguard stream, because I'm not going to jump on Russell's article, today on their stream, the Vanguard guys said, they even said whether that's the real reason or not, we don't know, because don't forget, the Vanguard guys went on the air yesterday and said it was office drama. And they got that from an inside source. They said they called somebody and they were told office drama. They didn't hear anything about his sick mother. Right? So now we're supposed to believe is that his mother is sick. Still no explanation for why Jason left. Right? And so it's, yeah, I mean, this sounds to me
flimsy,
like they're not allowed to say what they really want to say. That's what it sounds like to me, especially since through all of this, neither of these two guys have had a kind word to say about Marianne herself. They said, we're proud of the work we did. We're proud of the platform we wrote. We wished her all the best, which, you know, but they have not said she was a pleasure to work for. No kind words for Marianne herself. So it's still very mysterious by the Vanguard guy's own admission, by the way. They even said today on the stream they're not sure it's because his mother's sick. That's why he stepped down.
You guys are a lot more professional. You guys are a lot more professional than I am. I'm a person that believes in human nature and your ability to understand things based off your human history and dealing with people. And you just go based on your human history. If somebody has to renege or leave, why would they not give that reason at the time that they're reneging?
Of course. Well, and the Politico,
and that's what you do. Yeah. You just use your human history, and I'm telling you, this is and they're not saying anything good about her. Like,
no, of course.
Like, say she's terrible without saying she's terrible. Go ahead, Russell. I know you want to chime in. Go ahead, sir.
Well, and then the Politico article to me is the smoking gun because it's all over the place. So basically, the way I read it, they went into damage control, the Marianne Williamson's campaign, and they made really tells you what a C team she has working over there. What they came up with to kind of spin it and smear Daou and Call was to claim that they're more coming from a world of establishment Democrat politics,
meaning
and
my God,
and we wanted to go in a different direction. Like, in other words, they were out lefting them. They were too left.
That's the same thing Nick Brana said. That's the same thing Nick Brana said. It's straight out of the Democratic Party playbook. But this is news to me, Russell. So I can put this political because I haven't seen
I put it in the private chat.
Yeah, I haven't seen this. I'm gonna bring this political. Okay, here it goes right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and share it now. This is brand new to me because I was looking for something to report on and put in the description, and I'll do that now. It's for everybody that's watching. I'll put this article also after I share it on the screen. I'll put it in the description if you want to go check it out. I had no idea Politico had already came out with something. And here is the headline. Marianne Williamson loses two top campaign officials in a matter of days. It's really one day. The campaign director and deputy director for the long shot Democratic presidential candidate quit over the weekend. And I'll pass it back to you, Russell, for your commentary on the. I know you were talking about the article, but I have it up now.
Well, yeah. And so an insider claimed that was the reason, and then both Daou and Call tweeted out, that's absolutely ridiculous, and Call said it's so obviously easy to disprove this. I can't believe that they said that. So clearly their hands are tied with an NDA. And this is them, firing a shot at them, according to reporting that's been done on Marianne in situations like this. She threatens people. One of my favorite Marianne quotes from one of these articles is, I'm famous, God damn it, I don't need this shit, or something along those lines.
Wow. Jesus Christ.
So and that was one of her AIDS charities. Actually, that wasn't even a political campaign. So then something that's very revealing to me is they couldn't agree on what Daou's role was. Marianne's campaign tried to spin it as he was the temporary campaign manager, or he was the deputy campaign manager.
What?
Daou described himself as the campaign. Yeah, they're
manager.
Trying to make it like, yeah, no, this was always a transitory thing. No, he was.
Then
was
why
never
show
really
up in the
going
first
to
place?
stay.
You
For somebody who's non-establishment,
she's
she's doing a lot of establishment strategy. Let me read a little bit.
Very
of it.
badly.
Yeah. Let me read a little bit. Stop me where you want. Just let me know where you want to stop if you want to comment. The two top campaign officials for long-shot Democratic presidential candidate Marianne Williamson resigned over the weekend. Jason Call, the campaign's deputy manager, told Politico on Monday that he left Williamson's team on Friday. That came after campaign manager Peter Daou announced last Saturday on Twitter that he was leaving the campaign, quote, after much consideration, about 1 month into the job. Wow, 1 month. That's
after much
terrible.
Consideration. And what?
Why do you
month?
need
So
to
what did he like consider?
I know what happened.
That your mom is sick? What are you considering? That your mom is sick?
No, here's what probably happened. I'm willing to bet that both Peter and his fantastic friend walked into one of Marianne's infamous meltdowns, and they were like, "Oh God, she's freaking crazy. We got to get out of here, or our careers are really ruined." They had to see something had to have happened where they saw Marianne Williamson not in her prime. Or
it could have just been a buildup of her acting crazy. I mean, if you watch that video with Marcel, it's very consistent with how people have described her. You're there in South Carolina trying to convince a black audience that you're on their side on reparations, and you turn around like fucking Michael Myers, like you're gonna attack Marcel Dixon, who's questioning you on Jewish reparations. Like, you could see right there, like, the thing that people have described, like something clicked in her brain, and she came for him, and then she stopped herself and just completely avoided him for the rest.
I'm glad you brought up Marcel Dixon, because I interviewed him. And, when I gave him a platform for him to share what happened even after the cameras were done rolling. And apparently Marianne Williamson's campaign was very apologetic. They were apologizing to him. And when he went to have a private one-on-one conversation, I urge everyone to check out that interview. She was still completely hostile, venomous, yelling at him, talking down to him. And
who does that?
And if you even look at her body language, like when you watch the first video, not including the interview that I did with him, but if you watch the first video that you saw on Twitter where he posted it, she's standing very close to him, very nice and friendly. And as soon as he starts spouting on some things that she doesn't like, she bolts, she leaves, she's distance away. And then when she does that infamous, you don't know, she starts yelling and walking at him like she wants to deck him. And
that's in public.
Yes.
What do you think she's like in private?
Probably far worse. She probably, you have to drink a couple after dealing with a fight with her. Like,
well, you don't think also after an incident like that, Peter Daou, who is a veteran political operative, doesn't have the best track record. Obviously, Kerry, Hillary, Bernie, a whole lot of L's on that list, right? But you don't think there was a conversation? Hey, you can't do that. Like you can't. We're here. We got 10 people in the joint, and you kind of
you can't attack 10% of the audience.
you can't attack the audience like that.
You can't treat everybody in the audience as hecklers. You got
right, exactly. I mean, so it's very possible that it was something like this. Look, there are other theories. It could have been that RFK's entrance into the race just killed any chance at momentum that they could have had. The thing that does lend itself to this theory about how there was just a lot of internal strife is that both Peter Daou and Jason Call are clearly not allowed to talk about the real reason they left. Because even when they went to refute this article, they were extremely vague. They just said these are lies. We are not, we are not to the right of Marianne's campaign. They didn't issue any actual clarification as to why they actually left. And the sick mother thing begs the question, why couldn't you just have said that yesterday when you announced? That's a completely benign.
Why would you say more to come?
Why would you tease that out? It doesn't really make sense.
The fuck out of him. Because Daou, look, I mean, I get the sense with Daou that Daou is pretty flaky. And in spite of the NDA, it looks like he was about to write a check his ass couldn't cash that Marianne would have taken him to court for. And I am betting he heard from her. I think in no uncertain terms, I will sue you to the full extent of the law.
Plus, you got to look at how you guys brought this up in your video, but she has connections to that Hollywood crowd, and that Hollywood crowd will gladly go to bat for their crystal seeing queen who can predict the bad vibes. I mean, the thing is,
he's in the same communities. He's in
the same community, but she's of a higher level. I mean, she's with all these people. She's with them 24/7. How Oprah helped her rise to ascension. So, I mean, you guys did a great breakdown on how she was never going to run third party. The Vanguard asked her a question, and she gave them a word salad. And the thing is, what everyone should take away from that is Marianne Williamson will never tip the apple cart, because if she does that, then she loses her financial connections with the Hollywood.
She doesn't want to get surrounded.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think the details to come. I think what he did was he put out the tweet to test the reaction, and he could have possibly had a reason, multiple reasons, and he's like, "Oh, this is the reaction." Everybody's like, "Fuck you anyway." Okay, let me go with the nuclear option. And the nuclear option for any job, any occupation is what? Family emergency. Family doesn't require any explanation.
Right.
Doesn't require any
fall
proof.
under any NDA thing. You're allowed to talk about your mother being sick.
That's it, guys. That's it. I gotta go. But no way do I buy this. I don't buy what Jason Call is saying about the reason. You would clearly say, man, I feel so bad that I have to leave the Marianne Williamson campaign at this pivotal point when they're just gaining steam, and I gotta leave because I gotta go take care of my mother. You wouldn't go details to follow. Like, you're trying to think of a reason, a workaround the NDA. You're trying to think of a workaround the NDA, and a workaround to all NDAs is family emergency. That's my final words on the topic.
Well, I can imagine.
Savvy's exactly right there. That's what I was going to say.
Well said, Savvy.
What's in it for all of these people? They're trying to get those Hollywood connects. Look, even though Crystal has enough money to fund both of these campaigns, and she should if she believes in it, these runs so much, she should fund her good friend Marianne's campaign. Still, man, to get access to Oprah, to get access to those people, you got to have access to, because they got money. They're not impressed with your money. You gotta have a connect to get in touch with those people.
Yeah, they expose themselves as dishonest, because I remember what these people said during the beginning, because they said, well, we just support anyone for a primary challenge. Me and CJ called them out and said, no, you support her because she's your friend. Now, if you say you support Marianne Williamson because you want to see a primary challenger, Why are these people not supporting RFK even though he's
not one of them? Not one of them.
They're not, because it was never about supporting a primary challenger.
No,
it was always about propping up her friend who's trying to go on a book tour, who's trying to sell books, and then they can later be rewarded because she got access to the Oprah Winfrey Hollywood Club.
Well, it also shows you who they are, because in the end, you can support wacky Topanga Canyon guru,
I like the
Oprah
Topanga
Winfrey.
Canyon one.
Yeah,
you can Topanga Canyon, because that's right here.
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
they can support that without losing their connections. They cannot support RFK without ruffling feathers among the elites. In the end, the fact that not one of them is supporting RFK, that they all picked Marianne, that tells you who they are. And you're right, it's not about a primary challenge, or they'd go for the one that's stronger, right? Why would you go for the weaker one?
So what I want to know is, what do you think the overall fallout will be for all the channels that have been going to bat for Marianne Williamson? Because the thing is,
it's a good question.
It's as all of this gets revealed, I mean, you can't hide it for too long. I mean, until Marianne Williamson has another one of her meltdowns in front of a larger crowd, or more people decide to come forward to the independent media, or even at the mainstream press, and say, hey, this lady's off her rocker. And Vanguard, Kyle Kalinske, Breaking Points, they have a huge cachet of videos of them saying, and even short video streams of them saying, hey, go ahead, support Marianne Williamson. She's a challenger. She's a fighter. There has to be a fallout. There has to be a pushback into the audiences that have been consuming that content. You know, there has to be that eventual call out of,
well, you'll get
you support a candidate that you guys lied about. Why should any one of us trust you? You're no better than corporate media.
Well, you'll get what's happened with a lot of stations that started out with a left audience, like Majority Report, like Vanguard, actually. Like, once they showed who they were, they lost the left part of their audience. And they wound up with that part of their audience that just wants an MSNBC that they can super chat to. That's what they wind up with. And if you look at the view counts relative to subscribers, it shows you that. A lot of those subscribers are just zombie subscribers that stopped watching them once they showed who they were. Majority Report, for over 1 million subscribers, it's like nobody watching that show. Really. I mean, if you watch what the counts are on their videos.
Yeah, it's very small as a percentage.
It's a very small audience. So that's your answer. I mean, you get people who join these channels thinking they're one thing, and then once they find out what it is, only people who want that other thing are going to stay. And those are, you know, I mean, with things like the Majority Report, we were talking about it on the show yesterday. The only thing I can think, like, if that's what you want, why aren't you just watching MSNBC? Like, why aren't you, like, what are you coming to YouTube for? The only thing I can figure is because of the chat. That's it.
It make them feel edgier, feel more young.
Yeah. It makes them think they're independent. There's that too.
And look, I get my news on the interwebs. That's
exactly.